Hello, episode 12, part 12, about our corrupt justice system in America and maybe around the globe. Today's episode, well, it's gonna be about white America. Why do I mention white America? Because it was the Western European, specifically from the UK, right, who arrived here, and he wanted, or they wanted, more freedom, not less, more freedom. They wanted to free themselves from oppression, from totalitarianism, from dictatorship, all that stuff. They created a constitution, a Bill of Rights, that's supposed to be about individual freedom. More freedom, not less. So here's the thing. They fled the UK, right? They went here. They fled away from tyranny and really, again, dictatorship. Here's the problem. Who created the dictatorship? White people. So when you have our forefathers, right? When they created the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all that, it wasn't gonna last because white people are wired to want dictatorship. That's it. Not only do they want dictatorship, but they are wired to enforce dictatorship. Let me give you an example. And I know I could be the villain here, right? So in other countries, they have a lot of laws, right? But the other countries don't enforce the laws. So therefore, you're kind of living freely. The cops aren't enforcing the regulations. Now, you can say that's bad, but when you're not enforcing regulations or laws, people are living more free. We could debate if that's good or bad. But when you create a lot of laws and a lot of regulation and you enforce it, that's when you have dictatorship, totalitarianism, communism, all that stuff. It's really all the same meaning. There's one person controlling everyone else, right? But that's what you have. When you create too many laws and too much dictatorship, or you create too many laws, you create too much regulation, and you enforce it. That's the key. And again, white people love that mentality. And why is that? Because, this is all races, to be honest. But I'll generalize it. Certain races, they need to feel overly safe. So, because you want to live overly safe, you're going to create a law on anything. Anything's a regulation. Anything's a law. This is why I talked about jaywalking a few videos ago, because jaywalking's evil, and that's a terrorist act too. You got to stop jaywalking. The world's going to end if you jaywalk. Oh my God. So when you create all these regulations and you enforce it, that's when cops become like criminals. But they're not criminals because they enforce official regulations. So for many decades, up until this part of history, American government has been really white people in government. Until now, obviously, nowadays it's a mix. One party has a mixed group of people, the other party's mostly white. But the laws we've had up until today have been created by, white people. That's the truth. So I had to bring that up. I mean, it's just, again, certain races by nature create so many laws and so much regulation. One more time, because they want to be overly safe. That's a truth. So you're gonna enforce everything, like, oh my god, jaywalking, oh my god, weed in the car. Even though, I mean, I talked about weed and meth already, but there's a lot more to that. Again, everything's a moneymaker, right? Everything's a moneymaker. So you create laws for certain things so you can make all the money. It's a whole thing. That's another kind of topic of, like, how this world's designed for certain groups or people, and it's all about making money and who makes the most money, and then we have everyone else. That's a whole other subject matter. But yeah, look, white government created a bunch of laws over time. They created a bunch of regulations, and it's the fear mongering. If you drink and drive, you're gonna kill everybody. Okay? Well, prosecute the road drunk person. Or ban alcohol. You don't want to do that, though. Jaywalking's horrible. But there are no cars on the road. I mean, but we've been through all that. But I had to touch on a key reason why we're so regulated. Race always plays a part, whether we like it or not. Race plays a part in life. Certain races are more uptight than others. So the more uptight you are, the more regulated you want to be. The more uptight you are, the more you think everything's a terrorist act, everything's a violent crime. I will wrap it up. Have a good evening.